Okay, hello and welcome everybody. And today I have a very special guest with me in this weekly podcast. I'm joined today from Atlanta, the United States of America, by Zeshan Farooqi, who happens to have a very jovial and very cordial personality and who is a man of many, many talents. I won't say more about him. Rather, I'd like him to come to the mic and introduce himself for the audience. Zishan, would you please inform us a bit about your talents and yourself?
Yes, I tend to be more humble about my talents and what I do, but I'm Zeshan. I am the CEO and owner of Atlanta Banquets. It's a venue. Hopefully, very soon it'll be called Venues, plural. That's why I left it plural at the end at Banquets. So I plan on expanding my venues. So I do weddings. I have a team who does the decor, the setup, the bookings, all of that. So I basically just buy the property. I set up a beautiful venue, and then I leave it to the community to run, and they run the weddings and the events.
Okay, that sounds really interesting. Zishan, how did you go about in this? Was this your career choice? Did you want to be in the events industry, or where did you begin from? Can you please tell us a bit about your journey?
No idea. I had no idea. So when I was in Pakistan, I went to Ziauddin Medical, and I finished medical school at Ziauddin. But during my time there, I was working for Yellow Butterfly Events. We did Tamer Fuda, we did Faisal Beg, all those big DJs in Pakistan. So I used to work with Atif Marfani and Agha Hamza, and we used to host big events in Pakistan. But this is while I was in medical school. I used to do all of this. I used to do red carpet interviews. I used to do all types of events. So the place where I have my current venue right now is supposed to be my clinics, my medical clinics, and it's not my I basically transformed it into a wedding special events venue.
Okay, so was this project your idea or was it your dad's?
It was mainly my okay. So my dad bought the place for me, so that when I finish medical school, it's for me to open up my clinics there. But
Oh,
I'm no longer pursuing medicine anymore, so now it's turned into a venue. So whose idea was it? Essentially, it was mine and his. I'm like, let's just turn it into a venue.
okay. That's very interesting actually, and we've heard that a lot of families where you have parents and kids, especially in the South Asian communities, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, the parents want their children to become professionals, like become accountants, doctors, engineers. But sometimes the kids have an aspiration to go into the arts. And there is always this tussle. It happened with me as well. My dad wanted me to go into business. He was in business all his life. I wanted to be a field hockey player. I wanted to play hockey, and hockey was Pakistan's national game then. We were on the top of the world, so I was crazy for hockey. I had absolutely nothing in mind but to go into sports. But my dad didn't encourage me to take that up professionally, and I believe he was right. He was right because there's no money in hockey. Uh, so, as an entrepreneur, as somebody who started off on his own, has the journey been a smooth ride, or are we in choppy waters?
It it's still a little choppy waters. It has been choppy waters because after medical school, I went to undergrad. I mean, I was 17 when I was thrown into medical school, and I don't use that word lightly. Thrown, like I was forced to go to medical school. Uh, what I always wanted to pursue was entertainment. I'm still writing TV shows. If you want, I can share the screen right now and show you a show that I wrote 2 years ago. Here, let me share the screen. Let me know when you can see it.
Okay.
Can you see now?
No, no, I don't. I think there's some technical issues here with this live stream. This is the basic version, and perhaps I might not be able to show the screenshots and things like that. So, so
Can you?
yeah, I mean,
Can you see the screen now or no?
No.
Watch this. Share screen. Can you see it now?
No, I can't. No, sorry. Okay, shall we continue with the
Yeah, we
questions?
just continue.
Ah, you are from Pakistan, I understand. Your dad is your dad from Pakistan originally,
My dad is from Pakistan. My mom is from India. Yes.
and you migrated to the U.S. Your dad migrated to the U.S. and you were born and brought up in the U.S., right?
Yes.
Okay, so many of us have that experience. You know, we have family members who pursued the same. They went to the States and they started off over there. Uh, Now, what would you say is your community like? Presumably, you have lived in Atlanta, Georgia all your life. Am I correct?
I was born and raised in Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. My
Okay,
mother was a professor at Louisiana State University, and my dad was a captain. He was a merchant marine. So his port was New Orleans. He did cruise ships. He did, before he came to Pakistan, he worked at KPT.
okay,
Yeah.
right.
So he left KPT. I think he was the head of KPT in Pakistan. My mother was at Karachi University. She was with her cousin, Khushbak Shujad. I don't know if you know who that is.
Yeah, I know her very well. Yes,
Yeah.
she's a celebrity here. Yes.
My mother was always with her doing the interviews. Hello?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Yes, go
She was
on.
always doing the interviews and the talk shows and stuff like that. So my mother also had a knack for entertainment always.
Okay. And so you are in Atlanta now. How would you describe the community in Atlanta? Is it monolithic? Is it diverse? What sort of nationalities there are in Atlanta that your business serves?
Atlanta is a New York, but it's a predominantly African American New York. And I love it personally. New York is more diverse in every type of other race. Atlanta is more of every type of race, but the majority, like in New York, the majority is always going to be Caucasian, right? European white. But in Atlanta, the majority is African American. And then it's diverse. There's Asians, there's Desis, there's lots of Iranians, a huge population of every type of culture, especially Koreans.
Okay. And your business, Atlanta Banquets, does it focus only on weddings and events like that, or are you into conferences and other sort of stuff as well?
Every type. We've had conferences, we've had church events, we had an Amin, we had a really nice Amin where they celebrated. Amin is when someone finishes the entire Quran. But,
Okay.
they read their Quran. So we've had two Amins, and I'm trying to pull up. Uh, so we've had Amins, we've had movie premieres, fashion shows. It's just an event center pretty much, and I'm trying to find that one photo. See, like this is a photo of an Amin. You can
Okay.
see schools on the decorations was all, and there was Allahs on the tables and everything. You see how that egg right here?
Yeah, yeah.
Names of Allah on every table. So it's pretty much every type of event that you can think of that was there.
Okay. So when somebody gets in touch with you with Atlanta Banquets,
Hmm.
what services can he expect from you? What is included in your service portfolio? Do you just hire out the place or do you give added on stuff as well?
So my team, they do the whole thing. They do your whole wedding from start to finish. There's a wedding coordinator, wedding planner, wedding coordinator. They do the limousine. If you want a horse carriage, we had someone come in on a helicopter once in the park.
Oh,
It was a Bosnian wedding. They came in on a helicopter. They didn't want us to film that though. Um, I do have the film, but they don't want me to upload the film. We've had a we've had a request for an elephant. It was an Indian wedding, 4-day Indian wedding. They wanted elephants, but we couldn't get the elephants. The county wouldn't give us permission to bring the elephants and let them come in on the elephants. Um, so everything from start to finish, the chairs, the tables, the linens, the decor, everything is included pretty much. And the price range, it starts off around $20,000-$30,000.
Okay. And do you offer, in-house catering? Do you cook the food, or how do you?
Catering is one thing that comes from outside, so I don't get involved with the alcohol portion or the food portion. I stay away from the alcohol. I allow it in my venue because I can't not allow it, you know. But I don't provide the alcohol at all. They have to get a permit from the city. The city provides the permit, and then they can bring their own alcohol. I do have vendors that they can go to and purchase the alcohol from, but I don't get involved with the alcohol portion at all. The food portion, I have contracts with certain caterers, but what attracts people to my venue is that we allow outside catering.
Yeah. Okay. Now, food is for our community. When I used to live in England, I also organized, events for my business company, etc. And when it comes to the South Asian community, Indians and Pakistanis, they seem to be very sentimental about food. Would you
It is.
share that view?
Every culture, especially our culture, South Asians, Indians, especially our culture, food is very particular. I actually personally would accept when someone else's weddings or events, food is not good. I go to I bring the chef or the caterer. Food is not good. The quality is not good. The presentation, and I've actually had to tell a few chefs that they're never going to serve here ever again because of that. You know, it doesn't just make them look bad; it makes me look bad when their food is bad. You know.
Okay. Okay. So, how are you marketing yourself? How are people getting to know about you?
There's multiple sources. Of course, word of mouth is the most important. That's in any business, word of mouth, and providing a great experience to others. They go and tell other people about that experience. Great customer service, and then on top of that, social media. Social media is really big. Advertising through social media, listing yourself everywhere, having a good website that is connected with the search engine optimization is really important. Promoting your posts on social media, making proper stories on social media, that's also important. And Google ads, of course, Bing ads. We just listed ourselves on, I don't know if they have the application called Waze in Pakistan, WAZE for maps, but we just listed ourselves on Waze and
Okay.
Alexa as well, like Google and Alexa. Like you can actually go, Alexa, tell me more about Atlanta Banquets, and Alexa will tell you more about Atlanta Banquets.
Okay. And is that all that there is, or do you also send out, stuff in the mail or advertise in the local newspaper, things like that?
I have. I've talked to Gwinnett Magazine, Swanee Magazine. It's just I haven't reached that level yet where I need to. I think social media is so powerful, and then Google is so powerful. HubSpot is also really powerful, and then my other lead sites. I have a secret formula that I use. I don't tell anyone that formula. I'll never tell anyone. My own parents don't even know that formula.
Okay.
But there is a secret formula that I use. Because today, if you go on the stories for Atlanta Banquets, you can see there's 5 different clients. I walk, as soon as I get to my parking lot, there's people waiting to come and tour. So there's a secret formula that I use that I don't really tell or communicate to anyone. I'll put my charger in right quick.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to put the laptop charger in.
Okay. Okay. Now, as we speak, we are in the middle of a global pandemic. Businesses have been affected, businesses have closed down, and people are, they're trying to save their lives. Trying to save their livelihoods.
Yeah.
How is that impacting the events industry? And what has been your experience in Atlanta been like?
Atlanta's kind of abnormal in this aspect. Pura kulya, like the whole Atlanta is, it's like the pandemic never happened. We went into quarantine for a good 3 months. After 3 months, when Trump gave the orders, the governor opened Atlanta up. And me and my friends, we went out, we put on masks, and we went out to go to this one Turkish restaurant, Pasha, packed, packed. And it wasn't packed that night. Every time we drove by, it was packed every night. Every restaurant, every nightclub, every if most of the businesses went out of business by that time. So I have been busy because of that, because a lot of the other banquet halls have closed. People are getting married. People are coming from the surrounding states to Atlanta just to hold their events. So it did negatively impact us for a few months. A lot of cancellations, a lot of refunds had happened, but it made up for itself because we've gotten bookings.
Okay, that sounds interesting because when we read the press, it seems to suggest that there is a surge in COVID-19 infections. And you're saying that is not the case.
No, the surge is real, but the people of Georgia, especially Atlanta, and the surrounding people, a lot of people, they don't care. They do take their precautions in the events. There's masks. I require masks. Temperatures are checked at the door. Hand sanitizer is everywhere. The doors have to stay open, so there's open ventilation in between. I mean, by the grace of God, we haven't had any cases, or no one's ever reported back, oh, I got COVID from the event. And we also have a waiver that they have to sign that we are not responsible if anything happens to you during COVID, you know?
Okay. Yeah, well, some countries have had total lockdowns. Some countries, like Pakistan here, we have had smart lockdowns. Businesses aren't entirely closed, but certain areas that where there is a concentration of the disease, those are, kept under quarantine. Uh, okay, now looking at the events industry, it's something very creative, something very artistic. Uh, do you feel that the artist in you is more actualized in this field, or do you think it's more a numbers game?
It's both. It can't be one or the other. I have a strength because most people who are entrepreneurs are not artists. I have a very, very strong artistic leaning, uh, and that does help me. My charisma is also very like I'm very charismatic. I mean, you can't come to me or you can't come to my venue and not be hypnotized and book. You'll book. I worked at Apple and I worked at Google as well. So when I worked at the Apple store, me and my experts, we had always had a challenge. I'm like, I can make that client, I can make that customer buy whatever I want them to buy. And it's persuasion. You persuade, but then I also have the artistic side to where I know every type of flower. I know what type of colors. I use zodiac signs. I'll use a bride's zodiac signs to base on how she wants certain things. And I'll tell my event planner that this is how she wants it. And she's like, "How did you know that?" I'm like, "Because there's a whole guide on zodiac signs and what brides want." So yeah, the artist meets the entrepreneur. That's a very powerful combination, especially for me, and it is very advantageous because I'm creative, but I'm also an entrepreneur as well at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. Now, the pandemic presumably is affecting people, in many ways. Well, not presumably, actually, it is. How is that impacting on your prices? Have you reduced your rates given the pandemic, or what is in the pricing in the industry like right now?
Increased my pricing by 30%. Um, why? Because I was going to anyway. I've only been open like 18 months. I've had 150 events. I've had to increase. I was going to increase my prices anyway, but I have not reduced my price at all. I've actually gone up. I've increased my prices by 30%.
And still you're getting business.
I'm actually getting more business now because of that.
That's really interesting and encouraging.
Yeah.
Okay.
People say Mhm. Sorry.
Sorry, who do you see as your competitors? Do you have local competitors?
To be really honest, Kashabai, between me and you, like I haven't even when opening up this banquet hall, I didn't even go visit the other banquet halls. I called, I asked for prices, but I have not set foot in many of these banquet halls. My dreams, my aspirations are for uh, a bigger venue, a standalone building, not a shopping plaza. I want a standalone building. Like I want a building that rivals the hotels in Buckhead, in Atlanta, the posh area of Buckhead. And hopefully I'm working on something, another project that I'll be hopefully talking about in the future that I'll be when I expand to Atlanta, to the Buckhead area, the posh area. But who is my competitor? I don't know. I focus on me and I run my race. I don't look back at who is doing what. I don't look ahead of me. I just look at me and what I'm doing and how can I do it in the best way possible. We actually collaborate. Me and several other banquet hall owners. Most of them have shut down, but the other one is Opal Event Hall, Shalanti. Me and her collaborate. When I have a date that's not available, I send the client to her. She sent me what 7 clients already, and I sent her like 3. So when my date is not available, I send them to her, and when her dates are not available, she sends them to me. So cooperation has worked, especially in the Desi community. The Indians and Pakistanis have. I know maybe in Pakistan, Indians and Pakistanis are rivals, but over here, Indians and Pakistanis work together, and we, Kashala auntie is Indian, and I send her my clients, and she sends my her clients. We work together, and it works. There's more cooperation than competition.
Yeah, that's interesting. Now, events, as I understand it, I don't know what the state of affairs is in the US. In England, when I used to organize England,
Hmm.
there were quite a few rules and regulations that we were supposed to follow. Would you say that in the States, in Atlanta, the same is the case? Are there some things you can do and some things you can't do? And, are there legal hitches and is there a lot of red tape involved?
There's a lot of leniency in Atlanta. I've noticed. I have my own rules, and I base them off of my experience in the event industry. I have my own personal rules, and then I have rules that you know, for example, I don't. I require valet parking at every event, and my valet guys strictly know to not give back anybody their keys if they're drunk. I don't allow you to leave the banquet hall when you're drunk. You have to call an Uber or a taxi. I have taxis waiting in the corner, or they can call an Uber. But my valet people will not give you your keys back if you're drunk. Now that's something I made up on my own because I don't want somebody to leave my banquet hall and get into an accident and or get a DUI and then blame my banquet hall. You understand?
Okay.
So yeah, I make up my some of my own rules, but yeah, Atlanta is very lenient when it comes to events.
And what about security? Like, you have.
Every event there's a police officer, not even just regular security. There's a police car outside with the police officer who patrols inside and outside the venue.
And people like nightclub bouncers, like, guards, big, heavy people.
The police guy is big heavy people, but sometimes the police officer is a female. By the way, uh,
Okay.
I don't have those big bouncers. I mean, sometimes depending on the type of event it is, I'll have my own personal bouncer, who follows me around. Uh, but because I'm a little strict when it comes to events, I'm not harsh or anything, but sometimes people are drunk and they don't listen to me because I'm very nice and I'm very jolly, and sometimes people don't take me seriously in that sense. So I have my own bouncer, and he basically will tell them
Okay.
what to do and what not to do.
Okay, you've also worked in the events industry in Pakistan. How was that experience? Was it beneficial for you in any way? Was it rich? Was it different?
It was like a secret world that nobody knew about. What I was doing was Faisal Beg, like Tiesto student. DJ Tiesto is an EDM DJ. We did Tamer Fuda, who is Egyptian house music. It was at the Carlton Hotel, I remember. And then the Faisal Beg concerts would be at the beach. the beach houses. So it was more of like a private scene. It was like hidden, and it was very exclusive. Like not everybody knew about it. It was very underground, it was very hush hush, but there was hundreds of people there every time.
That's really really interesting, and it sounds like you were involved with the underground music scene. And there are a lot of parties that go on. Obviously, they are not commercialized. We don't have, Pakistan does not have nightclubs like other countries. There's strict rules about alcohol consumption, but things do happen.
Alcohol flowed like anything in Pakistan. Actually, I,
Hmm.
like I don't mean this in a bad way. I say this as a Pakistani. Like Pakistanis are wild, and
I would say, yes, a certain
they're
segment.
actually worse than here. They're worse than here.
Yes, and now in certain segments, especially low economic parts, rural areas, the Punjab, this thing is also going over there. There are wild parties, and they have a tradition of such parties, in the Punjab as well, and in rural areas especially. So, okay, now, moving on a bit to your other identity, which is your faith identity. You are from a Muslim background, an Islamic background. How has been your experience like as a Muslim businessman in Atlanta? Do you face any discrimination?
Yes, of course I do. Um, it's not even like the Muslim aspect. I think it's the color aspect in this country. Um, as we know, this is a very racial country. It's very much divided by race, not as much as by religion. Religion is just an added discriminatory factor. People are racist here, uh, but has it held me back? Yes. Sometimes I will get booked. Sometimes I will book clients, um, and certain clients will not book with me. I don't know why, but whenever I have one of my white directors or my white, employees do the tour, they book. Those very same people. So yeah, religion doesn't have that much of an impact. The other day, my director told me, people have asked us, people have asked me, is this a Muslim hall? I'm like, what indication does this hall give that it's any bit Muslim? Oh, because the alcohol aspect? No, like there's a lot of Christians and Jews who don't, really drink alcohol or support alcohol in any way. So yeah, I have faced a little bit of discrimination here and there when it comes to religion, but it's mainly with race.
Okay, and does your dad give you a free hand? Are you allowed to do what you're allowed to do, or does your dad say, no, son, the buck stops here?
There are some things that my dad tells me not. I do them anyway. Um, some things that we just don't agree on. I talked to you about it in the past as well. It's not easy working with my family, like with your parents at most times, but it's gotten a lot better.
Okay. And 2021 is just around the corner now. Now, what are your plans for the new year?
Plans for the new year. So I want to open up my second venue. Um, the second venue is not just a venue; it's going to be a high tea and brunch spot. I'm still working on other TV shows. I'm working on a sports TV. I'm working on a pet show. I'm working on a lawyer show, a doctor show, and a sports show. So I'm working on 4 different shows right now. The doctor show, I kind of ran into a little bit of trouble with the doctor, but hopefully that'll be settled soon. But me and the other shows are in development. I have other projects in development. I had written a show 2 years ago called Sultans of the South, but with COVID happening, nobody wants to see a bunch of South Asians and Middle Eastern people rubbing their fabulous lifestyles in everyone's faces while people are getting sick and dying and suffering. So Netflix dropped it.
So, you wrote a show for Netflix.
Yes.
And Netflix would pay you for that, would it?
Yeah, I did get paid.
Okay, that sounds really interesting. Have you thought of any collaboration between Pakistani artists and Pakistani directors and producers and yourself? Do you see that in the future?
So you do know my khala is Khushbuk Shujat, right?
Yes.
Auntie, uh, she has her sister-in-law is Huma auntie. What is it? Not Huma auntie. I forgot her name. Hum TV. She owns
Yes,
Hum TV.
yes, yeah. That's
Sultan
my
auntie.
my
Sultan
mom's favorite channel. It's
Yeah.
run by women. Yes, I know. Yeah.
So the auntie has that. So my friends in Pakistan grew like when I was there. Sharyar Munawar was my best friend when I was in medical school. Danish Ali was a very good friend of mine. Even till this day, I study Quran with Asad Malik. Asad Bhai just told me a few days ago actually. When I was how to help him get verified on Instagram and Facebook. He just told me, Zishan, come here, work on some projects, but I don't even know where to begin when it comes to Pakistani dramas. You know, so
Okay.
I would love to bring my talent and whatnot to Pakistan. I don't know if you've ever heard of Anam Falak, the makeup artist.
Personally, no, I don't know.
Doctor turned makeup artist. She's on Instagram. It's at Anam Falak. Uh,
Okay.
I was talking to her literally 2 weeks ago. I'm like, Anam, should I go to Pakistan and start doing the dramas and start writing shows and whatnot? I'm like, are they ready for what I bring? And she's like, you would rule it.
Okay.
So I'm still thinking about it. I'm waiting till COVID ends, but I'm just like I don't know what I want to do. Whether I want to do that or not.
Yeah, but you have a key strength. You have family that are in the business, and your aunt,
I could
brother.
easily navigate through all of those channels easily.
Yes. So I think to leverage on one's strengths is better than to tread into uncharted territory.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a ministry of entertainment or art?
No, I don't think so. But there are ministers who are very much into art. Well, the prime minister himself is, he is very keen, and Imran Khan, he comes from that background himself, so he's very. Right now, the Pakistan television is also getting a bit of a boost, and the latest trend here is of Turkish dramas. I wonder if you know that.
I love that one Turkish drama. It's actually Sultan. It's called the Sultan or something. I
Yeah,
was
Sultan.
I was
Yeah.
watching it and I loved it. I really really liked it.
Yes,
Can you
period dramas, historical dramas.
can you see the screen?
Yes, yes,
Can you
yes.
see the show that I wrote?
Right.
Can you
Oh,
see more than players or no?
yes, yes. It's more than players.
So do you
That's
see on the left? We just casted Venus Williams, the tennis player.
all
On the
right.
right, that's Iman Shumpert. We casted him as well. On the bottom, it's D Virgin, Asia Wilson. So it's all these sports. It's basically a show that I wrote for. So Abito, it's Black Lives Matter right now in America, right? So
Okay.
I wrote a show so that black athletes, are like superstars here. They're like Greek gods and goddesses. Everyone like worships them. So I wanted to create a show for Fox, which I'm actually pitching to Fox in December. Actually, in 2 weeks, I pitched to them this show, More Than Players, and
Okay.
this is the kind of stuff that I write. I made this whole document. Episode 1, Black Lives Matter. The guest star is Sean King. We have Colin Kaepernick. Kamala Harris is going to be in one of the episodes, the vice president. We casted them. We worked with all of them. We casted them. So just wanted to share that with you. I'm working on multiple projects at the same time.
No, that looks really brilliant. How did you manage to get the likes of Venus Williams, or how will you get Kamala Harris? Do you pay them, or do they just volunteer?
So my business partner is a celebrity. You can follow her, Desiree Ross. She is on the Oprah Winfrey Network. She plays Sophia in a show called Greenleaf, and she's the star of that show. She lives actually down the street from me. I collaborated with her on the project, and she used her Instagram account because she's verified. She has that blue thing they call it blue tick. She has that blue tick, so whenever a blue tick messages another blue tick, they instantly get it, and they most likely respond because they all run in the same circles. You know?
Yeah, that's really brilliant. That's it's something definitely worth pursuing and sounds really cool. Okay, well, Zishan, we are coming to the end of our conversation. Is there any message you'd like to give to budding entrepreneurs, people who are thinking of starting off? You know, what would you say to them?
Just final words. What I would say to another entrepreneur: make sure you know what you're doing and you enjoy what you're about to do. Don't just go out and do it, and then make sure you make goals, and then vigorously and passionately just keep focusing on those goals. That's what I would share. And I mean, I would like to leave you with this as the trailer for what I wrote in the show that I was talking about. Can you see it?
Yes.
Hip hop,
This is what the show that I wrote for Netflix.
Atlanta, hip hop capital of the South, Mecca for Black Hollywood. Now, we gotta wait for that. It's the call to prayer. It's not like a speech or anything. We just gotta wait. Is it over? No. We Middle Easterners are rising to the top. From the houses, to the cars, to the bling, to a giant bedazzled peacock. Why do we have this thing? We're living in one big hip-hop music video.
So I just wanted to share that with you, Kashifai.
Yeah, that's very good, glamorous, and it looks very interesting.
But you see why during the pandemic people wouldn't want to see that, right?
Well, I think during the pandemic, people do want to log in and watch YouTube and online stuff more.
Yeah, but that's what Netflix said, so I can't argue with Netflix. They're just like, yeah.
Okay. Well, wish you the best of luck. Ladies and gentlemen, we were in conversation with Zeshan Farooqi of Atlanta Banquets, and I hope you would have enjoyed the conversation. Till next week, look after yourself. Thank you very much for listening. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.